Harjinder Kang. Let me also take the time to invite Ms. Jennifer Daubeny, Minister Commercial, Canada High Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Jennifer Daubeny, Minister Commercial, Canada High Commission. And it is also a pleasure to have with us Mr. John Cabeca, United Intellectual Property Counsellor, Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. John Cabeca, United States Intellectual Property Counsellor, Southeast Asia. And our moderator who's tying it together, Ms. Komal Sharma Talwar, founder, XLPAT, XLScout. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our moderator, Ms. Komal Sharma Talwar, founder, XLPAT and XLScout. And with that, all yours, Komal.
Thank you so much, Niharika. So I would like to extend a very warm welcome to the distinguished panelists today. And I believe that we are assembled as one of the most globally represented panels at TiECON today. And I've got top leadership from 3 pivotal and strategic countries, the UK, the US, and Canada. Through the very short 20-minute discussion today, the takeaway for businesses in the room will be to get relevant insights into trade policies and opportunities within these 3 dynamic and expanding markets. We have limited time today, so I would like to invite all 3 of you to start with your opening remarks, starting with Mr. Harjinder.
Thank you very much. And Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, and good afternoon, everybody. Lovely to be here. As you can probably tell from the name and a little bit of the accent, I'm of Punjabi origin and left the Punjab when I was 2 with my parents. But coming back on a regular basis, so big links with this part of the world. Basically, I have a career in the sort of technology areas that India's getting famous for, life sciences specifically, where I was with AstraZeneca for 30 years and worked very closely with India many times. But the UK and India have very long established trading and social relationships going back many decades, as you all know. And the business side of it has just flourished from day to day. And one of the things that we're very clear about is that that relationship is only going to go from strength to strength. Our Prime Ministers met a few years ago, and enhanced trading partnership was both agreed by them and announced by them to say we should double our trade between the 2 countries. It's something like 40 billion right now, and over the next 5 years or so we should double that. And part of that is all about the free trade agreement. It's not the only thing, but part of it is let's do a free trade agreement to make life easier for especially the SMEs, which is what, the cohort of everybody here, the majority of you are SMEs and so on. We're also very clear about the sort of areas where we are good at sort of partnering on. And life sciences I've already mentioned, and the Serum Institute of India and AstraZeneca, my old company, have demonstrated just how strong a partnership that is and how we can do things together. But there are other industries that we've agreed, as a country, have decided are of strategic importance. And certainly things like the artificial intelligence world that's now currently taking over the planet. The UK is becoming a centre of excellence, and it's very clearly one of our Prime Minister's objectives. We are creating all sorts of incentives for companies to locate there. We want to become the world's #1 site for AI. And you may have heard of what we're doing in terms of that, in terms of creating ecosystems. And only last month, Genpact opened their Centre of Innovation in AI in London. And that's where a lot of the action is. So I can say more about it later on, but it's a strong partnership, 2 million people, diaspora, that talk to each other on a regular basis anyway. But the industrial base is extremely strong. And we look forward to welcoming many more of you to come to the UK.
Over to you, Jennifer.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Komal. And I'm really pleased to be here today and to be a part of TiECON 2024 and to be able to present to this great audience of entrepreneurs and mentors, innovators, investors, startups, and I hope many friends of Canada. Also a pleasure to be here with my fellow panelists, Harjinder, John, Komal. And I'm just going to point out my members of the Canadian team who are here today. We've got Suman Mondal from our High Commission in Delhi, as well as representatives from 2 of our provincial offices, Kapil Malhotra, who represents Ontario, Rajesh Sharma, who represents British Columbia and is based here in Chandigarh. We've been engaging with TiE Chandigarh for the past few years, and every time we're here, we're really amazed to just see how the organization is galvanizing the ecosystem here in the Punjab, particularly in the Chandigarh-Mohali region. It's such a vibrant tech and startup system here, and congratulations to TiE Chandigarh for the work you're doing. The fact that so many of you are here on a Saturday is really an indication of the value of the organization. I'm going to start with some very quick remarks on the big picture, what we might call the elephant in the room, but just on the big picture geopolitical situation. I think many of you will be aware that the past few months have seen some considerable tension between the Canadian and Indian governments at the national level, and that we continue to have some very difficult and important issues to resolve. That's going to take some time, but as the governments and as we work that out, I am really, really encouraged by the vision and commitment of business leaders, like those in this room, who are seeing beyond the challenges of the short term and instead focusing on further growing the Canada-India trade and investment relationship. I'll note that both governments have very publicly committed to the continued importance of the business relationship and are determined to let business do business. And on that note, there is no shortage of opportunity between our two countries. India's growing commercial relationship with Canada is now worth over 130 billion Canadian dollars, and that supports job creation, technology advancement, and prosperity in both our countries. I would also say that we've got an excellent complementarity between our two countries. I'll note that Canada's biggest pension plan investors, the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, the Quebec Pension Plan, Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, are here, along with some key private equity investors like Brookfield and Fairfax, and they are investing across India in sectors like infrastructure, renewable and clean energy, and real estate. So that is really Canadian capital helping to build the new India. And I won't forget the Canadian direct investors and manufacturers, for example, in the auto parts, aerospace, agri-food sectors, who are helping to make in India to export to the world. At the same time, numerous Indian companies, both big and small, have established themselves in Canada to access not only the Canadian market, but also the US market and the markets of the other 56 countries with which Canada has free trade agreements. Businesses based in Canada enjoy unparalleled access to export markets thanks to our global network of trade agreements. These markets together account for 60% of global GDP. And if you need another reason to look at Canada to establish your business, I'll just note that we are consistently ranked as one of the best places in the world for quality of life. And I think the many, many Indo-Canadians are a testament to that, people who have established and are prospering in Canada. So just to wrap up, opening remarks, it really is a very positive bilateral trade story between our two countries. The strategic economic interests of Canada and India are very strongly aligned, and together we can help make one another even more prosperous. For those of you interested in Canada, please don't hesitate to reach out and to engage with Canada's Trade Commissioner Service. We have a presence in 160 countries globally. We also have 8 offices across India. And that presence in India is augmented by 6 provincial offices. So we're definitely here, we're definitely active, we're definitely looking forward to engaging with you both today and in the weeks and months going forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup.
John, over to you, please. The opening remarks.
Thank you, Komal, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back. We were trying to figure out if this is my 3rd or 4th time.
Yeah, 5th time, I think.
Speaking at TiECON. And over lunch, I was asked, why do you love coming to TiECON so much? And it really stems from prior to coming to India, I was the director of the US Patent and Trademark Office in our Silicon Valley office, covering the west coast of the country. So it goes without saying, I worked extensively with startups. So when I come to TiECON, I feel like I'm coming home a little bit. So very, very happy to be here today.
Welcome back.
And thank you again for inviting me back. Also, I'll share a little bit at a bigger picture level. When we talk about US and India and the work that we do together, we believe that together we are better for business growth, which means, stronger economies. It means better opportunities for everyone from both our countries. And as India's largest trading partner with now $191 billion in two-way trade and growing, there's a lot of great stories we can tell. But I do want to share one fact that from a CII, the Confederation of Indian Industries, published a survey last year, and in the survey it said as many as 163 Indian companies have invested in the U.S., and equating to more than $40 billion, and those investments have created more than 425,000 jobs across our country. So some great opportunities there. And again, one of the reasons I was drawn to India in the first place is that connection between the amazing, talented workforce here in the country and innovations taking place in the high-tech sector and biotech sector in Silicon Valley. It was what drew me to come here. And because India has such a strong, talented workforce, this trade, this two-way trade, much of it has to deal with innovative products. And these innovative products, again, from high-tech, biotech, or from cosmetics to apparel and everything in between, all where intellectual property plays a significant role in protecting these innovations and enabling these innovations to cross borders and to establish brands globally. So that's why I'm here as the Intellectual Property Counselor for South Asia, based in New Delhi. I cover the entire South Asia region. And effectively, there's three pillars to the work that I do. The first pillar is the government-to-government work that I do every day, and that goes with local, city, and central governments. Every government body that essentially has intellectual property priorities or is looking to have rules or regulations or laws that implicate IP in some way, we engage with these bodies throughout the country and throughout the region. The second pillar of the work I do is working with you and with U.S. industries on the IP landscape and understanding the IP landscape between our two countries, understanding their differences, and helping to facilitate those investments in that two-way trade that we have between our countries. And then the third pillar is one that brings me here today, is one of outreach and education and heightening intellectual property awareness, the importance of IP, and the importance in respecting intellectual property throughout the region and throughout the globe. So again, very happy to be here and looking forward to the rest of the program.
Thank you. I think the opening remarks were very helpful in setting the context for where trade relationships, investment relationships stand between India and the three countries. We have 7 minutes left, so I'll try and ask you one question each, which are very critical for the dialogue today. And I would request you all to keep your answers brief. Mr. Harjinder, you were closely involved. I read on LinkedIn today that you were one of the chief negotiators for the UK-India free trade discussions, which have been in the limelight for such a long time. Will you like to share some key updates on where we are heading in the bilateral trade dialogue?
Yes, thank you for that. No, it won't become no surprise to you that, as I mentioned, it was obvious that the two countries have a very complementary set of economies that work together very well, already working together very well in terms of the trade that we already do, which, as I said, is going at a rapid rate of knots in various industries which we are both collaborating on. Now, in terms of the reason why it's complementary is that if you look at any industry, there's a scale-up, a manufacturing base scenario, and there's an R&D and a development scenario. And the two can be done simultaneously in both. And you utilize the best of both to get a world solution together sometimes. So basically, if you look at the economies now, they're almost the same size. It's the 5th and 6th largest economies in the world, the UK and India. So they're partnerships of equals. It's not like looking down on one and another. So that's how we've approached it. So we have 67 million people in the UK who are wanting to look at India in a way which is very different probably to how it's been looked at before. Now, if you look at the UK FTA, what we were very clear about was that this can't be just something about goods and tariffs. It has to be as broad, probably the broadest deal that India's ever done with respect to what's in an FTA. So for the UK, it's actually about a trading relationship over the next 30, 40, 50 years. And so you have to have everything in there which allows a free, equitable, and workable set of solutions. Now, when you look at what's in there, it's something like 26 chapters is what we agreed would be in there, and it creates a good base from which businesses can operate. And the things that are normally not in an FTA are now in there. It's things such as competition, customs, labor, environment, and so on. All these things will be the benchmark by which Canada, USA, EU, EFTA will all have to have within their deals too. So it's a good sort of benchmark for free trade agreements for India. It's going extremely well. It's not been easy for both sides, as you can imagine. Certainly, we are in a position where we are down to a few very difficult things to resolve. The Indian team were in London last week. The UK team will be in Delhi probably in the next few days, and it will carry on until we finish. The bottom line is we will only do a deal that works for the UK, and India will only do a deal that works for India. So it will be a win-win scenario at the end of it all. And that's where, you know, when I say complementary economies, if you look at the actual areas where we're trying to do the deal, it works extremely well. And like I said, AI, life sciences, medtech, financial services, all the things that we're both good at, it will work extremely well. So
great. And I hope we make quick progress on that front, because I think it's very beneficial for both India and UK. Jennifer, I mean, I can vouch for the AI ecosystem in Canada, because as a company, as an AI company ourselves, we have experienced the ecosystem and we've been able to start and scale up our technology company there. For others in the room, can you provide insights into, I mean, people who are interested in probably looking at Canada as a place where they can develop AI, whether it's R&D or development? Can you provide insights into specific provinces or cities within Canada which have become leading ecosystems for AI?
Sure. Thank you very much for that question. And we are thrilled to have you and your company in Canada. We were talking a little bit about this over lunch as a bit of a poster child for a successful integration into the Canadian AI ecosystem. Canada is really, I would say, a world leader in AI. We did launch the world's first national AI strategy in 2017, but we have a very good base to build on. We have, essentially some of the real early thinkers, and if one can call them the foundational thinkers on AI, are coming out of Canada, and particularly out of Jeffrey Hinton from Toronto, and so the system has evolved in a way. We now have 3 national AI institutes, one in Edmonton, one in Montreal, and then the Vector Institute in Toronto. And these are really the central hubs of Canada's thriving ecosystem in AI. And they bring together national and international collaborations in the field. I will say that Toronto has the highest concentration of AI startups in the world. But our other hubs are also doing very well. And we have something known as the AI-powered supply chain supercluster. And just that is expected to create 16,000 jobs in Canada and add to Canada's economy over the upcoming years. If I just touch briefly on the tech talent in Canada, I mean, we are really a leader in terms of our talent. We have a very well-educated workforce. And we have 4 of the top 10 cities in North America in terms of the dynamism of their tech sector. So that translates over to AI. And you know, we try very hard in Canada to link the government, academic, and the private sector in terms of our ecosystem. So happy to speak after with respect to AI, but I think I'll wrap it up there and back to Komal.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I think the last question, John, I want you to wear your IP innovation hat now. We've been talking about, you know, startups, entrepreneurship. We've been talking about startup expanding into international markets. But when we get into all these international markets, we also have to be very, very careful about navigating global IP challenges. We've got 18 seconds. We can extend it to another minute or so. Can you give us some do's and don'ts on how do we navigate this complex global IP landscape while starting and scaling up a business internationally?
Yeah, definitely not enough time to give
I
you
know.
a primer
I'm so
on
sorry.
IP law, but but maybe we could just start by asking a simple question. Everybody in the room is, for all the startups and entrepreneurs, do you want your business partner or an employee to leave, start their own business, and become your biggest competitor? And I know you don't have to answer it. The answer is no. Right? So the next question is, well, what are you doing to prevent your hard work, your technical know-how, your technical advantage from walking out the door? And intellectual property plays a key role in doing that. Not just for, so basically what it means is you need to get a handle of your IP. So understand the different types of IP, patents, trade secrets, copyrights, trademarks, geographic indications, designs, and I think in India you have semiconductor designs as well. Figure out your IP, figure out how they work together. Intellectual property intentionally overlaps, and that overlaps means that you can have a complement of intellectual property to help protect you and to protect your business assets. So with that, I'll just share 2 big mistakes that I hear a lot. And the first one is not managing the need to know. In your business, who has access to your sensitive information? You're iterating, you're innovating, you're creating different prototypes. All of this is pre-public disclosure. Some of this might be formulas that you want to keep as trade secrets. Some might ultimately be patented. But during this period, it's all trade secret, confidential business information. What are you doing to manage that? And who needs to have access to all of that information? And giving somebody access to everything, all the technical know-how, is that leaving you as a weakness? Number 2, and part of that is making sure you have the right protections in place. If it's trade secrets, the contract law in India, since there's not a standalone law, look into that, see how best to protect yourself. Then the second one is how to manage what goes public. A lot of times we see information is leaked to the public, formulas are leaked, recipes, whatever it might be, that technical know-how, or a lot of times in a trade show, you might divulge your invention prior to when it was intended to go public. And in India, that's harmful. That can prohibit your ability to get patent protection for what you've publicly disclosed. In the US, we have an extra year, and through other jurisdictions around the world, from your public disclosure. But you have to look at that and understand what the nuances, not just here in India, and also how to protect yourself globally. And I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's time to wrap up the panel. Our panelists and their teams are here, so please feel free to interact with them during the day. Thank you.
Many thanks, everyone, for that lovely conversation. And I think in times to come for entrepreneurs who are looking to go global, jogging from the security gate to the boarding gate is going to be the best workout in times to come, or at least that's how I can envision it. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for this wonderful panel on Beyond Borders, exploring global expansion, trade, and innovations. And could I request the Vice President of TiE Chandigarh, Mr. Satish Kumar Arora, to come up on the dais and felicitate them. First up, we have Mr. Harjinder Kang, His Majesty Trade Commissioner, South Asia, Deputy High Commissioner to India. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Harjinder Kang, His Majesty Trade Commissioner, South Asia, Deputy High Commissioner to India. And we have with us Ms. Jennifer Daubeny, Minister Commercial, Canada High Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, please also give it up for Mr. John Cabeca, United States Intellectual Property Counsellor, Southeast Asia. And our very erudite moderator, Ms. Komal Sharma Talwar, founder, XLPAT, XLScout. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Ms. Komal Sharma Talwar, founder, XLPAT, XLScout. Thank you so much, everyone. American academic Michael Porter, known for his theories on economics, business, and strategy, remarks,